Steam's Medieval Fest is here, but for strategy fans, it's a minefield. Today, I'm breaking down 5 absolute must-buys, followed by 3 wildcards that might surprise you, using my new patent-pending Worth It summary cards to see if they're actually worth your time. I've focused on titles that, in my view, offer the deepest mechanical payoff, so they're worth your time investment as well as your money, whether you're looking for historical realism or something a bit more unorthodox. Let's get into it. To start us off, it's difficult not to choose the already legendary Manor Lords. Here's a 60-second summary. If Total War, Banished, and Anno 1800 had a 3-way baby, you would get Manor Lords. It's a city builder without grids, leading to natural-looking curves and variety in the shape and size of buildings that leads to a ton of immersion. Starting with a handful of families, you will instruct them to collect wood for construction and generating heat, as well as collecting food to survive the harsh winter months. Each house, known as a burgage, contains a family that can be allocated to a job, and each house has needs. Satisfying those needs increases your approval, which leads to more families moving in. Each house can be upgraded, with each level bringing more demands to satisfy that house. Once you can survive the winter, you can create a variety of production chains that produce goods to please your workers, equip an army, or you can trade the excess for wealth to equip your army. So if you like the sound of walking amongst your peasants, expanding across the map to set up towns in each region with detailed and bloody combat as you defend your little manor, Manor Lords might be your cup of tea. This game is the king of medieval immersion. You will not find another game that immerses you into medieval village life quite like this game, except for maybe Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's a 10 out of 10 in that respect. But on the flip side, the issue is a lack of content and a slow release of new content. It's a solo developer that has put their heart and soul into a game, and that really shows, but output of new content will always be limited. Even so, with a 35% discount, the sheer beauty of this game makes me happy to recommend it to anyone with a remote interest in city building in the medieval period. Next up, Going Medieval is a colony building sim that drops you into a 14th century world struggling to rebuild after a global plague. Your mission is to lead a small group of survivors and turn a humble clearing into a thriving fortress. The standout feature is the 3D terrain and vertical building. Unlike many colony sims, you can dig out deep, ice-cold cellars to preserve food or build towering stone keeps with multiple floors to defend against raiders. You'll manage every detail of your settlers' lives, from their moods and religious needs to their schedules and skills. You'll need to survive harsh winters, keep everyone fed, and research new technologies to evolve from wooden shacks to grand medieval halls. So if you like the sound of meticulously preserving food to get through the winter, building elaborate defensive structures where a supporting beam in the wrong place can spell absolute disaster, all while fighting off bandits, Going Medieval might be your cup of tea. There's a free demo to try if you're not sure, and it's got a 20% discount right now if you want to take the plunge. Next up, we have my personal favourite, Crusader Kings 3, where you start the game by ruling any county, duchy, kingdom or empire on the world map in the years 867 or 1066, reliving historic events or doing whatever the heck you like as a character you've created. Either way, you'll seek to expand your holdings with a mixture of espionage, diplomacy, marriage, and most of all, fighting. You'll invest tax revenue into buildings and upgrade castles. You'll fabricate claims on titles and create new religions, all while churning out babies to secure the future of your dynasty. Eventually, your character will die, and your lands will be split between your children. Continuing as the eldest child, you will likely have to fight your siblings to restore your father's kingdom, let alone expand it further. Everyone has an opinion of you, and opinions matter. You can appoint powerful vassals to your council to keep them happy, but with a limited number of positions, you may need to resort to blackmail or imprisonment to keep the others from rebelling. So if you like the sound of developing your character's skills and those of your heir, forming an empire over generations, and the occasional feast to help you de-stress, then Crusader Kings 3 might be your cup of tea. CK3 is already a legend of the 4X genre. It's difficult to learn, frustratingly so at times, but the freedom it gives you to live out all sorts of medieval fantasies, from empire building to family soap opera, make this game a no-brainer for those who have the time and the will to master it, especially with a 70% discount. Age of Empires 4 has epic single-player campaigns, from the Norman conquest to the Mongols invading China, alongside a bucket load of skirmish modes for those who enjoy playing with or against the AI, friends or strangers online in sweaty face-offs. However you choose to play, you must build up your base and economy, scouting the map, before training and upgrading your army to, ultimately, clash with the adversary in pitched battles, raids, or grand sieges of mighty fortresses. Production value is off the scale, with beautifully narrated history lessons that teach you about medieval warfare between missions, and show you the real locations of the battles you are about to partake in. Overall, the immersion is rather impressive, albeit offset slightly by the cartoony look of the units. So if you like the sound of a solid RTS formula with great big walls and trebuchets, a bunch of asymmetric civilizations to choose from, and enough production value to make Avatar look like a 3-year-old's finger painting, Age of Empires 4 might be your cup of tea. I know this game often gets a bad rap, but to me that is almost totally unjustified. This game is a thing of beauty. The production value is off the scale. The level of historic education means this game should be used to teach history in schools. Sure, it looks a bit cartoony, but look past that, and Age of Empires 4 is a titan of the RTS genre that caters to many, and with a 65% discount, it's basically as cheap as chips. Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord is the ultimate medieval sandbox that blends strategy, RPG, and intense, large-scale combat. Set in the fractured continent of Calradia, you start as a nobody and work your way up to becoming a powerful lord or even a king. Bannerlord is a game of two halves. On the world map, you manage your party, trade goods, and navigate complex kingdom politics. But when the steel meets the shield, you dive into massive, real-time 3D battles where you lead hundreds of soldiers from the front lines, swinging your sword or directing cavalry charges, while your computer melts and pleads for mercy. You'll build your clan, recruit companions with unique backstories, and lay siege to massive stone castles. The deep economic system and character progression mean you can play however you want, be it a cunning merchant, a feared mercenary, or a noble statesman. So if you like the sound of a sprawling map begging to be conquered, where your tactical skill on the battlefield is just as important as your political maneuvering, Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord might be your cup of tea. And with a 50% discount, I think this one is a genuine bargain. So those are the 5 big hitters. Next, we're going to delve into the wild cards that are a bit more of a risk, but may well be a hidden gem, a bargain bucket diamond in the rough for the right player. Farthest Frontier is a medieval city builder with a particular emphasis on detailed farming and ways for your villagers to die. It's basically a successor to Banished, if you've played that game before. Oh yeah, pick up Banished too. Anyway, as with most city builders, you start with a few workers who build your town centre. Then with some worker allocation, they chop trees for wood to construct buildings and for firewood. They hunt deer, catch fish, and pick berries for food. And before long, you'll be mining resources and manufacturing goods to sell for a profit. If you meet your villagers' needs, then more villagers will come. But you must have enough food and firewood stocked for winter. Wells must be positioned efficiently. Soap must be available to avoid diseases. Fences erected around your crops to prevent wildlife stealing your food. And to top it all off, you must fend off increasingly difficult bandit raids with an RTS-style army. So if you like the sound of the most detailed farming simulation you have ever seen, producing goods to trade for other essential items, adapting to the changing seasons, and building an impressive medieval town, Farthest Frontier might be your cup of tea. And with 50% off, there's never been a better time to dive in. In Wartales, you steer a group of mercenaries through an unforgiving landscape akin to Velen from The Witcher 3. There are several classes, a ton of weapons and armor, along with a plethora of upgrades to make each mercenary unique, and each playthrough a very different experience. There is a limited story, but the main focus is on upgrading your group of mercenaries in your own way, and recruiting others to swell your ranks. The turn-based combat is like a game of chess as your crew move, poison, stab, and slash their way to victory or defeat. Ultimately, in Wartales, you wander the land picking up and completing bounties for cash, often leading to tricky decisions, such as whether to steal from the helpless or betray one arsehole lord for another, all while ensuring your mercenary band are well fed and paid, lest their happiness decline to the point they decide to leave you. So if you like the sound of serious medieval immersion, getting lost in a menu of upgrades and crafting while navigating or ignoring a mediocre story, Wartales might be your cup of tea. This one has a 60% discount, which makes it hard to turn down. In Foundation, you will purchase small plots of land on which you'll build a variety of resource production buildings, while allocating workers to both create and transport goods to where they're needed, with several end goals to choose from, such as military or economic dominance, or simply creating at your own pace. On the surface, Foundation is similar to Settlers, Anno 1800, or Manor Lords, where you expand your population while ensuring you satisfy everyone's increasingly complex needs, trading away any excess for profit, or investing it into your military. But Foundation has engaging progression with multiple intriguing paths to pursue. Plus, there are no grids, leaving you to build whatever you want, where you want. So even economic-focused players end up with a beautiful-looking town. While you can build and equip an army, all engagements happen off-map. So whether you prefer a head-scratching economic city builder with an ever-growing army, or a relaxing creative mode experience, creating picturesque towns, Foundation might be your cup of tea. With a 33% discount and more content on the way, now would be a good time to get stuck into Foundation. And last but not least, a last-minute, cheeky addition to the list. A quick shout-out to Total War Medieval 2. Oh, how I've loved you over the years. You can't go wrong with this title. There's a new game on the way, and with an 80% discount, you really don't have much to lose. So those are my 8 picks for the Steam Medieval Fest plus Total War Medieval 2, I guess. Whether you're diving into the absolute complexity of Crusader Kings 3, or just looking for the organic vibes of Foundation, there is more medieval strategy content in this sale than you can shake a stick at. But I want to hear from you. If you could pick only one game from this list to lose 100 hours in, which one would it be? Are you going for the historic realism of Manor Lords, or is one of the wild cards like Wartales calling your name? Let me know in the comments. I'll be down there chatting about the logistics of my latest manor. If you found these summary cards helpful, let me know that too, and I'll keep using them for future sales. Until next time, I've been Twiglets2. Thanks for watching.